Behind the Door to Recognition, The Royal You by W.C. Blackmon. The inner road of royalty is called such for three reasons. As you might expect, the first is self-explanatory. The road refers to the journey that one traverses during the living of life. The royalty aspect is purely intrinsic, referring to the link, connection, line from the creator to the state of being, human being, that one is and becomes. A part in the ultimate goal is to attain majesty over oneself. In a transparent metaphor, Jesus speaks of how in washing the inside of a cup, the outside will also become clean. This correlates with walking the inner road to royalty and attaining success in the world in which we live. When one centers on, not self, but rather the centering of the inner self, the surface and surroundings of the outer self is made to reflect that which is within. Similarly, for this reason, I refer to any who is on the path to inner success as a prince or princess, hence the inner road to royalty. In dealing with the outside of living life and accomplishment of more worldly related goals, the formula to success is all but identical. Variably, it is not enough for a prince/princess to have objectives to meet and goals to accomplish. In order to bullseye chosen targets, one must intimately become acquainted with such attributes as resolution, self-discipline, resiliency of spirit, integrity, decisiveness in action, flexibility, and empowerment of decision. However, transforming one's thought process is not enough. The prince or princess must further train their body to act in accordance with those positive and productive thoughts. This means that there must be a reconnection, rerouting, or remapping of the connectors from the brain to the physical body. A paradigm shift. For example, if one is operating under a certain financial budget, as many individuals and families are, concentration should remain on what bills have to be paid and what merchandise or services can be purchased rather than what cannot. Similarly, if one has a physical ailment or disability that curtails movements or particular actions, mental, emotional, and spiritual focus should center on all the movements and/or actions that can be implemented independent of the need for that particular ability. Upon losing my eyesight as a child and then growing to adulthood in a world where the majority of people had the ability to see with their physical eyes, it became paramount for me that I learn to see just as well as others who had the physical ability. The definition of seeing is to perceive with the eyes, discern visually. In this definition, the key components are perceive and discern. I therefore had to learn how to perceive, understand, and discern without the added benefit of seeing in the same way as most others. The key was being sure to place the focus on what could be done and how an action or goal could be done, rather than the difficulties or supposed impossibilities. In the first, forward and positive movement is constant, while in the second, forward progress is little if not non-existent. This same practice can be implemented in the accomplishment of any goals or objectives, short or long-term, personal or professional. Indeed, each day this practice is put into play by successful head coaches, community leaders, moms, dads, CEOs, teachers, social workers, business owners, government agency directors, heads of state, and all individuals who get it done. As a further example, let's look at a head coach of a football team or of any sport you would rather imagine. In order to approach each new challenge with victory in mind, that head coach's focus must be on each staff member and player that is a part of the current roster. This focus and honest look have to include their strengths as well as their weaknesses as individuals and as a unit. The next step is breaking down the strengths and weaknesses. The strengths of the unit as well as each individual should be harnessed to greatest potential, and the weaknesses should be protected while simultaneously being cultivated into a position of strength. While locking concentration in on these simple but effective principles, there is no room for statements such as, only if we could do this or that, Or, I wish we had this player or that person a part of our staff. In applying the principles outlined above, within the inbox of the mind and stamped as high importance is, I or we can. On the contrary, what should be deleted is, I or we cannot, or I or we do not have. The only time the latter should be considered is when in the process of strengthening that particular position. The key is remembering that particular weak position does not define you, your unit, or your company. For to think thus only unnecessarily weakens the whole. The second vital part to remember is rather than ignored, any and all weaknesses are to be protected. With a reshaping of the thought to body pathways, such unwanted and certainly unneeded habits as procrastination, self-doubt, unassuming blame, direct or indirect self-sabotage, or any other forms of negative neurosis are completely deleted. The reason why these unwanted showstoppers or momentum killers do not come into play is because there simply isn't time. One is much too busy making it happen, getting it done. Once on this path, not only does hope burgeon, the object of that hope is provided with wings. Can you imagine yourself being completely satisfied with who and all that you are, and yet remaining empowered with the drive and determination to be and do more? This change, this intrinsic transformation, is no less and no more than a paradigm shift away. A great way to enter this transformation is through what you study, the books you read, the programs you watch, the lectures or workshops you attend, as well as the people you observe. As these points are being noted, also take special note of the rungs that make up the ladder of progress and success. What is studied determines what and how one thinks. What one thinks then determines the actions one takes, and the actions taken lead to which objectives and goals are successfully achieved. In applying this proven practice, which will enhance not only your thoughts, but your overall outlook on life, a rebirth into a positive, more productive, rewarding, and fulfilling life is acquired. These are the major questions of now. Are you ready to move forward on your road to royalty? Are you ready to live your life to the fullest? Are you ready to fly? An emphatic yes to these questions is another aspect of what it means to walk the road of victory.
Greetings. I want to take a moment to further encourage you along your process to your royal you, whatever that means for you. I as well want to thank you for continuing to share, like, and comment if you have on this YouTube page. It's so good to have other viewers come in and check out what we've been taking advantage of here on the WC Blackmon YouTube page. The music, the videos, the messages, the audios. It's a good thing. It's a wonderful thing. And we appreciate it. We appreciate you. Until next time, continue to be your very best towards your royal you on the road of victory.